Hello, Fantasy Goats. How are you this evening? I'm your shepherd, and we're bringing in to you tonight a fantastic fire show. We are going to debate top fantasy football players. These are the creme de la creme, they say. Players that are not just close in their own ADPs, closely tied in terms of their round, but we're gonna hit like the studs here. We
hmm
spent a lot of time talking about guys that have gone in later rounds, mid rounds. We've spent time talking about guys that are quote unquote sleepers, quote unquote busts. These are the guys that are going to be drafted. These are the guys that you're drafting on your teams that you're going to be counting on in good order on a weekly basis. Before we get into that, folks, let's say hello to the other shepherds. We've got, of course, JX Fantasy. How are you this evening, JX Fantasy?
I'm good, man. Good, man. Blessed to
Living the
be
dream,
here, like always.
as always.
Yeah, you know, great day, sun shining. Like I said, tired of meetings. Time to talk football.
The only meetings that you or I or Stud Stanley should be having is meetings with your skill position players. Those are the meetings that we should be having right now with a big whiteboard and a black
Uh,
marker or maybe it's maybe it's on iPads and whatnot.
I miss those meetings. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Nice.
I never thought I'd miss those meetings. I remember I used to fall asleep in those meetings, but now you know what? I miss them
took those meetings
so
for
much.
granted.
You took them for granted.
Yeah, that's what happens.
There's there's a bunch of stuff that I feel like we all wish that we could may have back, take a mulligan on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and goats, we've got the one and only Stud Stanley.
Oh,
He's is in the house, aka Mike Tomlin's in the house.
Mike Tomlin.
how,
We do not care.
how are you this evening, Stud?
I am pretty good. It's not as much sunshine that came around my way today. It was a bit
Nope.
of rain, but it was a pretty chill day though. So, another day, blessed to be alive.
It is always a good day to be alive. It's always a good day to talk ball. Um, the Commissioner Rhino is not joining us this evening with a well deserved evening off. He's taking off tomorrow for the Scott Fish Bowl.
hey,
Yes, sir.
in
Las,
person Scotfish Bowl.
Las Vegas Live. Scott Fish Bowl is where the Rhino is heading tomorrow for the weekend. Sure, no. I draft the Scott Fish Bowl live in New York City, but I live in New York City. Now I've been to Las Vegas, so I know what kind of shit that could go on in Las Vegas. What are the odds that Rhino makes it home back in one piece? What kind of odds are we giving him that he makes it home 100% perfect?
He'll be
Rhino's not gonna
alright.
get too crazy. Yeah, he'll be all right.
We should probably set it at like even money because still it is Las Vegas. It is Las Vegas.
We'll see
Yeah,
how
but
much
I feel
damage he
like
does to the buffets out there. Well, how about
You,
that?
like I said, there's all sorts of mischief and shit that you could get into in that city. They don't
Mhm.
call it Sin City for nothing.
For no, exactly.
All right, folks. We are going to get into again top player debates for fantasy football this upcoming season. Do us all a favor. Please give us a like. Please subscribe to the channel. We got plenty of content coming to you the rest of this preseason, off season, straight through the football season. All right, fellas, we've got 8 debates. Okay, 8 debates, 16, 17, yeah, about 17 players, give and take. We do
Mhm.
have a bonus at the end. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to talk about like the studs. That's why you have that in your name tonight. First debate. Okay, now these two are in the first round. They're both running backs. It's going to be Jameer Gibbs, Saquon Barkley. Why don't we
Mm-hmm.
start? Why don't we start with AB between Jameer Gibbs, Saquon Barkley? Who are you going to go draft?
All right.
Who are you going to target here?
So my philosophy always in the first round is it's not always easy to win your fantasy leagues based on your first rounders, but it's very easy to lose your fantasy league based on who you draft in the first round.
That's
Because
it.
one injury could throw your entire team for a loop. One trade could mess up, your entire like running back 1, 2, and 3. So like, you need to always be careful about who you draft in the first round. And because of that, if I had to draft between Gibbs and Saquon this year, I would go with Gibbs because I feel like Gibbs is the safer option. Like I know Saquon is Saquon. Saquon paired with that O line is, a match made in heaven. But if we're talking about somebody who's going to be safe in their offense, who's going to get guaranteed touches no matter what, who is going to be involved in multiple facets of the game, I would give it to Jameer Gibbs. Jameer Gibbs is currently in an actual like high powered offense. I'm worried for both players because of the new OCs, but I would think that the new OC would come in and would want to run the ball or get their best player, more as involved as they possibly can. So I would think that Jameer Gibbs has the highest ceiling here. I'm also scared of the Madden curse. So that makes me a little hesitant when it comes to playing Saquon. And
Okay.
not just that, but he also led the league in touches last year. And usually players who lead the league in touches, most of them don't have good seasons the following season. So that's something that worries me a little bit. And he played in the Super Bowl. So that means he played 4 additional playoff games than everybody else. And then he played, in the Super Bowl and then the shorter resting period between Super Bowl and camps and stuff like that. I don't know. I would much rather take Jameer Gibbs' fresher legs than to go with Saquon.
Oh, look, there's not much to argue there. There really is. And JX, are you going with the number 3 overall RB, or are you going to go with Saquon, the number 2 RB in this draft?
Yeah, I'm going with the number three guy as well.
Yeah,
One thing that I realized during this study here, the Detroit Lions are model consistency on the high level players. I mean, there was not. I think there was only one time where Jameer Gibbs fell at the top 24 in weekly finishes. I mean, that's crazy. Saquon has finished lower a couple times, throughout last season. But just like Stanley was saying, um, you know, when you rush for 1,500 yards, it's just a rarity that you're going to get back to that or even close to it. With the backfield that Jameer Gibbs is with David Montgomery, he's going to have his opportunity to take his shots, and he doesn't have to be the full bull for the offense. So yeah, I'm taking Jameer Gibbs as well.
I mean, for the last 2 seasons, this dude has just been straight fire,
Mm-hmm.
and that's with kind of sort of like sharing the backfield
Yeah,
with a very capable David Montgomery. But what we really saw last season with Jameer Gibbs is when David Montgomery went out.
Uh-huh.
Jameer Gibbs just shot up even more PPR or half PPR, whichever one you're scoring is. We're actually, I should have mentioned that before earlier, Goats. We are working with half PPR. That's where the rankings are right now. We work with half PPR for the simple fact that it's in the middle of PPR or standard. So yeah, we work with half PPR. We recognize that a lot of leagues play both. Yeah, so I mean, like David Montgomery, when he wasn't in, Jameer Gibbs was an absolute beast stud. I love the pass catching ability. Well, again, all the reasons, all the points that you guys just made. The only slightest bit of pushback I would present is, and I think you may have just alluded to it a little bit, AB, the new offensive coordinator. I think it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lions are just due to just like come down a few ticks. I don't. I don't necessarily think that may hurt Jameer Gibbs, though. I don't know if it's going to hurt them. I don't know if it's going to hurt him. But if the Lions do come down a few ticks, come back down to earth, regress as a whole, this may affect Jameer Gibbs as well. The flip side, the flip side to the Saquon argument, maybe this guy's just like not human. Maybe,
Right.
maybe,
That's
maybe,
possible.
maybe, just maybe, the team that ran the most plays last season again figures it out where they are just like they're making Saquon even more efficient. What if Saquon turned into some sort of like James Cook type of production where like the touchdowns just spike up, but his yardage
His yard, yeah, comes down a bit.
comes down a little bit because he had like a handful of just like crazy 50 yarders. So like, what if they just like? I kind of feel like they're like mad scientists. Like I don't think they're gonna have any reservations of attempting to work Saquon. They're not gonna limit this weapon either. And
Of course not. Yeah.
what if he's not human? So again, the only reason look, if you're going to be drafting early in your draft, if you're early in the first round, you're going to be staring down the barrel of this decision. This tough decision. Should I go with Saquon, who we know historically anyone that comes close to 500 touches does not repeat? Or do I go with the safer play? Do I go with this, the 23, 24-year old versus the 28-year-old? Or do I go with like a dude that's been consistent while sharing the backfield? It's big time. I'm probably with you guys. I'm probably gonna pull the trigger on Jameer Gibbs if I'm in this position. But look, I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate. What if Saquon is this guy? Data
Definitely possible.
data and history tells us that it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. All right, let's go. We have another Detroit Motor City Kitty Lion for you guys, and this one again a fascinating debate. We're still in the first round. This is Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Nico Collins. JX, let's go to you on this one. Are you a Nico guy coming off of a 13, 14 game, 1,000 yards, 7, 8 touchdowns, I believe, but on pace for like some sort of crazy numbers where it would have made him in the conversation along with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase at this point? Or are we going with, again, another model consistent wide receiver for the last 2 years? All this dude is doing is 110, 120. All he's doing is 1,300, 1,400, 10 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns. I mean, he's just been so freaking consistent. It's like you know exactly what we know exactly what we're getting out of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yet it kind of brings into that. It brings back into the. For me, I may pull the trigger on Nico because I think that the Lions are scheduled to regress. Scheduled I have them on calendar sniper. Hello, that they are due to regress beginning September 9th.
The analytics gods say so.
JX, give it to us. Give us the fire.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Why I am picking Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not only is he a model of consistency with catches and receptions and yards and touchdowns, but he's also a model consistency of being one of the toughest wide receivers in the league. He plays, and that's honestly the biggest factor for me. He plays games. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if he has a broken arm, he's going to play. It doesn't matter if he bangs his knee, he's going to play. We're on the opposite side. As much as we all love how explosive Nico Collins is, and he can be on pace for this, he's on pace for that. But
He's always on pace for something.
yeah, he's always on pace for something. Like, what? Are you a sprinter? Are you a sprinter? Why are you always on pace but never can finish the race? So I mean, yeah, as explosive like I said, Nico Collins is. He has to find a way to show us that he can put a 17 game season together, so it can't just be pace and action can be reality.
Look at this here. I don't even want to see targets. I'm looking games 17, 16, 16, 17. What did he do? He's missed 2 games in the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
They probably had to chain him to his locker to keep him there.
Yep. He's
Best
always
ability,
available.
best ability is availability. Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
100%. But yeah, let's get to these. Look at the 23 season of 164 targets versus the 24 season with 141. But he still stayed damn near around the same amount of receptions, damn near the
Mm-hmm.
same yards per reception,
Had a little
and
bit of touchdown uptick.
he had a touchdown uptick last year,
Mm-hmm.
but about 200 and change less yards. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty negligible. And yeah, so like I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel like we've been drafting this dude in the same spot in the last
Yeah,
2 3 years.
and that's where he's been ending up as a top 5 to 7 wide receiver.
Can anybody? Do you want to make the case for Nico Collins? I mean, they brought in Christian Kirk that might see targets. They brought in.
Higgins.
They drafted
Noel.
Jaden Higgins. They drafted Jalen Noel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is this all maybe supposed to free up Nico Collins a little bit better? Last time I checked, the offensive line isn't that much better. Why is Nico Collins going as high as he is?
The pace, the upside. Everybody's chasing the dream because they see that Nico Collins, the games that he's healthy, he can post 12, 115, and 2, but they don't really account for the 4, 5, 6 games that he's going to be out all season. So it's like when he plays, when he's available, he's a wide receiver one, but because he's been getting hurt, it's kind of hard to 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 justify paying that price for him. If it comes down to him or a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, like I don't think that there's an argument to be had for Nico Collins. Because even though he's physically talented, I don't think his production screams wide receiver one, at least not league wide receiver one.
Again, I mean, I kind of feel like there's a population out of the fantasy community that is still pulling or still on the CJ Stroud camp, CJ Stroud
Hmm.
bandwagon that they believe
As
in.
they should.
They believe in, what we all saw as a rookie.
Hmm.
Kind of flatlined last season. May not be fully his fault, but I mean, we saw a lot of like spike weeks as a
Yeah, and
rookie.
he lost a lot of receivers last year too.
Yeah, that's true, absolutely,
Including
but
Nico Collins.
including Nico
Yeah,
Collins.
yeah, exactly.
Is yeah, no, I think there was a game where no. So like, yeah, Nico Collins was just back, and then Tank Dell went down. Like he did, he was out of his wide receivers a lot of the season until Nico
Yeah,
Collins came back.
Dalton Schultz was his wide receiver one for a couple of games.
Yeah, and now that was a mess also,
Hmm.
because we were trying to predict whether Dalton Schultz was a good, like, ad for the week or start for the week, and Rhino is on his way to Vegas beginning tomorrow.
Nice.
He's got the night off. Although I'm getting messages from him like he could come on. I haven't even responded back to him. Like, let him just take the night off.
Hmm.
Enjoy tonight. He was with his grandchildren. Tomorrow he's going to Vegas, and
Nice.
the sniper loves the JX laugh. It's a laughter of laughing at the competition.
Yeah, that we call it laughing at the competition.
They're laughing at the competition. All right. Yeah. Again, that's really the only argument I can make for Nico Collins. Like, okay, like CJ Stroud takes a step forward, the offensive line improves, but I'm on Raw again. You're getting just like a look at, we have the numbers, we have the consistency. Of course, we can make the case like, okay, if the Lions aren't going to be as good of an offense, as potent as of an offense, then all right, then they're all due to regress. Only time will tell on that. All right, we're going down the board just a little bit, folks. And as a matter of fact, we are going to talk about what a sniper's guys, Josh Jacobs or Bucky Irving.
Mm.
All right, Josh Jacobs, RB9, Bucky Irving, RB10. Who are we gonna take here? This is hot.
Now this is the toughest one by
This
far.
is the
This
tough
is
one.
now we're getting real hot now. Like this
No,
was tough.
it's not.
It's no. Well,
It's
I,
really
I want to
not.
hear. I want to hear what you got to say. Go ahead.
It's it's not tough at all. It's Josh Jacobs, and it's Josh Jacobs by a mile. It's Josh Jacobs by a mile, and for a bunch of simple, very simple reasons. Yes, Mel, it is a no brainer because Josh Jacobs has a stranglehold of that backfield. He's literally not. He's not splitting work with anybody. Other players get touches sparingly here and there. This guy gets 3 carries. This guy gets 5 carries. This guy gets 4 carries. Josh Jacobs gets 23 carries, 26 carries, 32 carries, 19 carries, 25 carries. It's his backfield. He is in a Matt LaFleur offense. That Matt LaFleur offense scores points. They score a ton of points. Jordan Love is his quarterback, even though, the quarterback thing is not really much of an argument because you can argue that Baker is just as good, if not better, than Jordan Love is. So like those two kind of like wash each other out. Wait, all right, give me 1 second, guys. Hold on.
Sure. What's the matter, stud? He loved his take so much. He was like, "That's it." He dropped the mic.
You dropped the mic.
He
Fine.
he dropped the mic. Look. As much as Sniper loves Josh Jacobs, as much as I like Josh Jacobs, I'm not sure if I like him that much more than Bucky Irving, and vice versa. I'm not too sure about that. I can make the case why we should maybe pump the brakes a little bit on Josh Jacobs, although again, all the man does is get us 12, 13, 1,400 yards. All the dude does is get us around 10, 11, 12 touchdowns. He had that down year, his final year in Las Vegas, but then the Packers gave him a great contract,
Mhm.
and he cashed it in for them.
Guys, wait,
Yes.
hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Something just came up. I gotta go.
Oh,
I'll be back in like 15, 20 minutes if you guys are
okay.
still on.
All
All
right.
right,
Okay.
Well, come back whenever you can.
gotcha.
All right. So yeah, I don't think that it's a wear and tear issue with Josh Jacobs, and we know it's certainly not a wear and tear issue with Bucky Irving. So it's like, okay, which one are we going to? Which one would we trust more? Let's take just all biased aside. None of us are Packer fans for a minute. JX, what are we doing here?
See, I kind of equate this to the conversation we kind of already had, right? With Jameer Gibbs and Saquon Barkley. So we are comparing the high efficiency versus the volume efficiency. I mean, he's very efficient too, but um, I'm looking at these offenses as a whole, right? And I'm looking at all these players that Green Bay has added, and I know Josh Jacobs is the mainstay, but I think he is due to have some regression. Where Bucky Irving in that super high powered offense, he's going to catch passes. He's going to get rushing attempts. They're going to find all different ways to keep him, on the field. And when he finally took over as the lead running back, he didn't give it back. He was in half PPR. He was top seven opposed to Josh Jacobs. I know Josh Jacobs finished a little bit higher, but also uh, Bucky Irving got hurt a couple of times. That took away from his total points.
That's right.
But I'm still taking the upside of Bucky Irving to even take another leap next season.
I think that we do have the upside with Bucky Irving. I mean, the Buccaneers offense last season, JX, like they were like one of the top scoring teams in the league that like kind of just flew under the radar when you were all, you know, glossing over like the Ravens and the Eagles and the Packers, although the Packers were not last season. But you know what I'm trying to say is if like the Buccaneers were like a top five, top six,
Offense.
offensive productive team. Now, the thing that would maybe curtail Josh Jacobs just a little bit, and this is kind of twofold. A, we know that Jordan Love was not healthy last season. So I kind of feel like they were relying on that run game more. Matt LaFleur wants to be balanced.
That's a great point.
He wants to be balanced, but at the same time, I'm not really buying that balance. I think he wants to like throw the rock all over the place, drafting Matt Golden, drafting Savion Williams. Let's not forget about Savion Goats. And then of course Jaden Reed and the rest of them, Romeo Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson. So I think he wants to throw the ball. That might hurt Josh Jacobs. And then the other thing that, again, not only does he want to be a balanced team, I also think that he wants to use 2 running backs. Mm-hmm. So I think that would put me more in the camp of Bucky Irving as well. But then JX, Shepard. If Matt LaFleur wants to use 2 running backs, then Todd Bowles wants to use 3 running backs. It's true.
It's true.
It's true. Yes. From there, I don't really have that good of an argument other than to go back to, well, we've seen Bucky Irving. We've seen his explosive plays. We see where the upside is taking us with Bucky Irving. We see that, okay, the Buccaneers ran a lot more plays than the Packers did, but that's not to say, again, that the Packers should return to that level of running a high amount of offensive plays, especially if they're moving the ball through the air. So that's why, again, fascinating debate where it's, again, Josh Jacobs is RB9. I think he's probably priced right, and Bucky Irving is priced right there due to the fact of the recency bias. Is that fair? Like last season, his second half of the season, and it was like, okay, wheels up for Bucky Irving. What's up, Husot? How are you? Sniper and Ron. Look at Rhino. Look at the Rhino here. I love I think when you were in here one night with the I think it was the night of the mock draft when you had that little wrench. I love seeing that wrench. It's like an admin tool. That's what it means. Admin tool. All right. Yeah. I mean, what if this Rashad White character's not going away? What if there's just like what if? Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not sure if you might want to just flip a coin on this one. But
yeah, this is tough. I don't think this is easy at all. Josh Jacobs, it could be either or.
I think I would probably lean more to the veteran because we have the body of work with Josh Jacobs. We do. There's still something about a 5th round draft pick that came on strong for half of a season, took the job away from Rashad White. And their head coach isn't necessarily the offensive coordinator. Like if Rashad White is running hot, I don't know. Now, I mean, what we're really doing is attempting to just throw everything up against the wall to try to like nitpick at reasons why and why not. All right, we're coming in hot now, guys. We are coming in hot. We do have another Eagle. Okay, we're loaded with Eagles. We seem to be loaded with Lions. Jalen Hurts or Joe Shiesty. Now this is, again, one of these dudes scores touchdowns both ways, more so on the ground than he does throwing the ball in the air. The other one only throws touchdowns and nothing on the ground. The one dude is just throwing for what? What did he throw for, Joe Shiesty? He like 45, 46?
45 and oh man, it was over 40 touchdowns too. I'll just say that.
I mean, and this, if he stays healthy, Joe Burrow is the type of dude that could continue to do that type of production. He's in the perfect offense for it, with the perfect weapons for it, and he seems to be pretty elite. He's an elite quarterback. The quarterback doesn't, he doesn't have to rely on his legs. No, Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, is extremely talented both ways. But JX, we were just talking about the Eagles and how they ran the most plays, but a lot of that is on the ground.
Yeah.
That is on the ground. Their passing volume took a dip from 2023. From 2023, which was their season coming off of the 2022 Super Bowl run, they had to throw the ball all over the place weeks 10 on. They threw at enormous clips. But then that completely reverted again last season with Saquon and Jalen and the tush push. The tush push is not banned.
Yeah.
Which quarterback do you like better?
I am taking the floor of Jalen Hurts. And you kind of already alluded to it. Shout out to Jalen Hurts at the airport.
Wow.
Did you get his autograph, Sniper?
Wow.
Anyhow, no, I'm just taking the floor of Jalen Hurts because he doesn't have to pass the ball to score fantasy points. He doesn't have to be down by 40 to score fantasy points. They can win the game by 30 and he can still put up 20 fantasy points. He's safe against any lead. He's safe against any opponent because if he's not running the ball great, then he can pass the ball and match the volume of Joe Burrow. Whereas feels though Joe Burrow, we just talked about, he's doing some regression, we think as well. He's still gonna be in the same situation, but is he gonna put up back-to-back 40 touchdowns, 4,500 with no rushing upside? I mean, with all those touchdowns and all those yards he threw for, you would go, oh man, he must have been QB1 by a mile. No, he was still QB3.
Yeah.
And the reason why he's QB3 is because the rushing upside of the two guys in front of him just kind of put them over. So I'm gonna stick with the floor with Jalen Hurts.
I mean, I think that I would go Joe Burrow here. I would, because I mean, like the tush push. Okay, fine. The tush push isn't going away, but what if he's still? What if some of those rushing yards get get stunted? What if the passing offense just remains stale or stagnant, where we're not getting much passing touchdowns out of him? I mean, so if Joe Burrow regresses a little bit, don't you think that would still come in a little bit better than Jalen Hurts? I mean,
Jalen Hurts had 14 rushing touchdowns and 18 passing touchdowns. He only had 18 passing touchdowns. The word I was looking for was game script. He's game script proof. Let's just say, by a miracle, if Joe Burrow's defense, I can't even see it with a straight face. Let's just say if Joe Burrow's defense wins him a game, where's Joe Burrow?
yeah, I know it's not. Don't count on it, but yeah, what if?
But Joe Burrow is a non-factor. He's a non-factor. We've seen the Eagles defense win them games, and Jalen Hurts is still QB10, QB15. He's still serviceable, but without like I said, he's game script proof. Joe Burrow, if anything happens out of his responsibility, he's done for the day.
Or I mean, he's not exactly the model of health.
Both aren't really.
True, that's true, but at least Jalen definitely better than Joe.
Oh yeah. I mean, Joe's missed seasons.
Jalen Hurts he's missed a game or two. I mean, it was a miracle that Joe Burrow was scot-free, healthy last season. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they're both coming into their prime. I know why a lot of people would go with Jalen Hurts for all the reasons that you pointed out. And I could also see why a lot of people are banking on Joe Burrow, banking on Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and a complete copy and paste into this upcoming season. Now, I don't expect it to be that prolific. I don't. I'm going to recognize that to be able to do that again is going to be damn difficult. But I still think that Joe Shiesty is going to get us a little bit more than Jalen Hurts. And again, this is definitely negligible. This is going to be like splitting hairs kind of thing. I can see why people are going to be more like tied to Hurts because of the tush push and because of we have like it's almost game script proof. As soon as you get into the 5-yard line, you can almost bank on him scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I got T. Higgins. I got Jamar Chase over there. I've got this guy named Mike Gesicki. I got this second-year player named Burton. He's got all these freaking weapons, and he's doing it again. This should be like he should be doing this blindfolded.
He should.
I got a good answer to which player. Make sure. And I know that the sniper definitely is. I know the rhino is definitely more than one draft. Being more than one draft, this way you could have Jalen Hurts in one league. You could have Joe Burrow in another league. That's the way I'm going to play. Do you know, JX, Jalen Hurts is like in his 6th year, maybe. I don't think I've ever had Jalen. Oh, no. That's not true. I just remembered. I have had Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I don't remember how that team did though. It was young. It was like definitely. It might have been that 2023 season.
I've had Jalen Hurts one time, and that was his rookie year. Well, not his rookie year, but the year after his rookie year.
Look at the Rhino. Look at the Rhino getting ready for his Scottish Bowl, Las Vegas Live. Do you want to know the odds? What the money line is on whether you make it back in one piece? We can give you those odds right now if you like. Yeah, they're good odds. They're good odds.
They're good odds. Plus
odds,
money.
If I saw that on FanDuel right now, plus money, I may actually put some money down on it. That he makes it back. I may put some money down on that. All right, another sniper favorite. And no, I did not do this on purpose, but I think that these are just fire debates. These guys are close in ADP. They're going one after another, or one, then a couple spots after the other. And I think it's really good that we just hash out the pros, the cons, and the pros. This particular one, this is the battle of the ages. Not the battle of the sexes that you guys play in, but the battle of the ages. And Davante Adams, Mike Evans.
I've been waiting for this.
No, I know.
I've been waiting for this.
I know you love your Davante. I like Davante. I don't like Mike Evans. I'm going to tell you why I don't like Mike Evans, although I should like Mike Evans. I don't like the age curve for him versus the age curve on Davante Adams. Now that's going to sound freaking wicked. That's going to be like, okay, like that doesn't make sense. And maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Your age is your age, but no, it's not. Davante Adams is almost like injury proof with the exception of last season. And I'm not even sure that was a real injury. Okay. Davante Adams. I think it was his groin, whatever they claimed in Vegas.
Yeah, it was my back, my groin, my leg.
I think it was bullshit.
Yeah,
I think that's bullshit. Anyway, I think Davante Adams is in just better shape, better physical shape than Mike Evans. Call me crazy. I'm not a sports scientist. I'm not a doctor of any sort whatsoever. I'm just a shepherd. I think Davante Adams is in better shape for his age than Mike Evans is at his age. Davante Adams now on the Rams. Now again, this Mike. You know what? I'm going to shut up because I know you. Why don't you just lay it out? Lay the case out for Devontae Adams, and I'll stick with Mike Evans.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think you're absolutely right though. Like the reason we're even having this debate, of course, is because they're close in ADP and ECR and all that. But I don't even think it should even be this close. Devontae Adams is a surefire round 3 pick this year in fantasy football, and should be that way. So he said about a couple weeks ago, being on this Rams team, I feel rejuvenated. I feel like I'm fresh, brand new. I'm like, yeah, everybody says that. Everybody says a little quirky stuff for TV. But then yesterday, I saw him catch a pass, jog to the field goal post, jump, put the ball between his legs, and dunk it through the goal post. I said, okay, maybe he is rejuvenated. Maybe he is the old guy that we know. But honestly, it's not even just that. It's just of what we already know. Devontae Adams' game ages better than Mike Evans' game. Mike Evans' game is a physicality game. It is I'm a bigger than you game, stronger than you, faster than you game. And last year showed that he's not going to be as big anymore. He's not going to be as fast anymore. He's not going to be as strong anymore. And I just see the regression coming. And his wide receiver competition right now is at an all time high. We all think pretty highly of Emeka Ibuka. We all think highly of Chris Godwin, and we all think highly of Jalen McMillan. Where Devontae is Puka and Devontae. And then
Yeah,
maybe we'll sprinkle some Tutu in there, sprinkle some Ferguson, sprinkle some Higby, but it's definitely Devontae and Puka in the wide receiver room.
they drafted that dude last season. Latish, but they still drafted a rookie wide receiver last season. They're seeing the end of the tunnel, the light at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Then they drafted a Buka in the first round this season. This is no accident.
Not at all.
This is no accident. Now, yeah, is Mike Evans going to be on the field? Sure, he's going to be on the field. Is his snaps going to be reduced? Absolutely, his snaps are going to be reduced. I mean, again, Hall of Famer, can't knock it one bit. He had a monster season, again, with time missed. But if he missed time last season for coming up lame, it's more likely than not that he's going to come up lame again. The potential for him to come up lame again. Henceforth, why they went and drafted another wide receiver. Let's make sure that Baker doesn't lose tools and weapons in the event that we can now kind of preserve Mike Evans, keep him okay. How about that? That's a novel idea. Devontae Adams is just still one of the most, if not the best route runners in the league. He's still the best route runner in the league at his age. Like the 22, the Puka Nakuas and the Mbukas are looking at Devontae Adams to see what he does in the technique. And there's little wide receiver or pass receiving competition. I know Rhino's gonna chime in now with Jordan Whittington, and I know you're gonna tell me Ferguson. That's nonsense.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
This guy,
I know he has his biases, but yeah.
McVay is throwing into wide receivers. I just remember I remember the Odell Beckhams and the Cooper Cup explosions. We're gonna see that again. Yeah, the Devontae Adams ADP. Okay, let me ask you this, JX. Would Devontae Adams ADP be where it is if he wasn't on the Rams? It would be lower, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's the fit definitely. That's what's making him a round 3 pick. If he was on the Jets or the Raiders still, I think of course he would probably be around 5-6.
I think it would too. But the Mike Evans ADP, again, I feel like his full body resume is baked into that. It shouldn't be there either, just based on the additions that they've made, based on his injury history, his age, his injury. I kind of feel like his full body of work is baked into that. And Sniper brings up an excellent point also. which we'll never know for sure. I don't think he'll ever confirm that. I'm sure that they are friends, really good friends off the field. He's like, you know what? I'm done with this Bernie and Ert type shit,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know, get me the hell out of whatever you're doing. I'm going to LA. I think they had to call Sean McVay in Asia somewhere, like to like get this deal done. Or Les Snead was overseas somewhere. They got
Oh, yeah. Sean was calling Devontae because Devontae was in Japan.
someone was somewhere,
Yeah,
and
Devontae was in Japan.
they're
Yeah.
like, to hell with this. We know that Rodgers wanted to go to LA, but they wanted Stafford. They wanted no part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there might be something to that. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Like, I'm done with being tied to this dude. But let's not take this away though either. Devontae Adams did come to the Jets with Rodgers on the Jets, and he absolutely balled out for the Jets.
Absolutely did.
And you want to know who else balled out for the Jets, Sniper? Where is he? Oh, I skipped him. Garrett Wilson. Yeah, let's go. Let's get right into this one. Garrett Wilson or A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown. Now, here's a...
Yeah.
Here, JX, this is an interesting situation. Tell me, who are you going to draft? Who are you going to draft? Garrett Wilson or A.J. Brown?
This one is so hot and cold. This is so hot and cold. I don't know if I have a definite answer for you. I'm gonna go with. This is hard. This one's actually really hard. I'm gonna go with AJ Brown, and the only reason why I'm gonna go with AJ Brown is the familiarity with Jalen Hurts. Um, I just think that they're gonna be running the ball a whole lot in New York, and have we seen Justin Fields be able to feed a wide receiver like this?
Glad you brought that up.
That's kind of my holdback. But also, we know that the Eagles can get into this world of we're running the ball 70% of the time, and it's okay if AJ Brown catches 4 times for 40 yards. So they could end up being like a mute week. They both could be wide receiver 35, 40. So, but just because of the familiar circumstances, I'm going to stick with AJ Brown.
Yeah, so just like we were talking about earlier with the Eagles and how they run the most plays, but yet their passing volume is down, I kind of feel like A.J. Brown, while technically not out of his prime, like, he's still relatively young. He's not over the hill. He's not going to fall off an age cliff. He did miss time last season. I kind of feel like we're going to see a very similar Eagles offense the way they operated last season. If the play is called up for Devontae Smith, the play is called up for Devontae Smith, who I'm well documented that he's the better wide receiver out of the two. If the play is dialed up for A.J. Brown, the play will be dialed up for A.J. Brown. There's not going to be a lot of ball to go around. And you want to throw in now Dallas Goedert. You want to throw in, I don't know, is John Dotson on this team in 2025? He probably is. Or if it's not John Dotson, it'll be somebody else. And then it is Saquon and Jalen. I think they're going to attempt to keep it exactly the same. Will it stay exactly the same? I don't think it will. I don't. Supposedly, on paper, right now, right, Rhino, it's on paper. They have the toughest schedule, one of the toughest schedules in the league. So we may see this Super Bowl hangover. We may see them having to throw the ball in many circumstances, a lot more, and that will benefit A.J. Brown. But I kind of feel like we're getting all right. So, is this fair? And then we'll get to Garrett Wilson. I think it's fair, JX, that A.J. Brown now is at a discount. We've been seeing him he's been in that first round. He's been that wide receiver 4 or 5. He finished the season wide receiver 12. I mean, like, we're getting him in a third round ADP, which is kind of like, okay, like it's he may be able to beat that ADP But like last season, he kind of didn't beat that ADP. He didn't really propel. Now, Garrett.
I don't know. I mean, I probably want to switch my answer to Garrett Wilson. AJ Brown really put up some bad weeks. Not by his own fault, just by the nature of the offense. Man, I'm gonna switch my answer and go with Garrett Wilson, just on the due fact that maybe the Jets might be in a worse position to throw the ball more times. But AJ Brown just put up some bad weeks last year.
Now you brought up the Justin Fields thing, you know, and the amount of passing attempts. His last season that he played with DJ Moore, when they had their full season together, which wasn't even a full season, DJ Moore saw about 140 targets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Garrett Wilson gets 140 targets, you might think, okay, well, that's not terrible. But at the same time, that would be a lot less than what he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think where Garrett can make this up. Okay, because he had the most receptions this previous season, and the most touchdowns this previous season. And I think he may have had the most yards that he's had in his 3-year career. If he could get more yards, because it was only at 1,100 on 140 targets, I would say, okay, then Garrett Wilson will beat that ADP. But on 140 targets kind of scares me a little bit. It does. The only way it works is if he absolutely needs explosive plays, needs big plays. Last time I seen him on a big play, explosive play, was in 2023 against a shitty Bears team. So I haven't seen, there hasn't been many of them. There really hasn't. What he's really good at is catching, 20-yard passes. He catches almost everything that's thrown to him. And he's an exceptional route runner. He's an exceptional playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good after the catch, but none of it is in really huge chunks. He gets tackled, or he tries to juke tackles, and it gets him into trouble sometimes, and he fumbles. Both are pretty good ADPs. Welcome back, Stud Stanley.
Yes, sir.
Stud Stanley. You're in the Northeast. Your home is close to the Meadowlands.
It is.
You big on Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson? I like Garrett Wilson.
Or are you an AJ Brown guy?
This year, I'd have to go with AJ Brown. I'd have to go with AJ Brown simply because I like the level of quarterback play better. I like the surrounding pieces better, even though I do think that Garrett Wilson might end up with more targets than AJ Brown this year. But I think that AJ Brown's targets will be more valuable than Garrett Wilson's targets. Like, I think that Garrett Wilson will have a lot of games where he gets like 9 catches for like 60 yards and a touchdown. Whereas like AJ Brown will probably have a couple games where he'll give you like 6 catches, 112 and 2. So like I think that's more likely to come from AJ Brown than it is to come from Garrett Wilson. I don't hate Garrett Wilson. I heard you say something about the ADP. What was the ADP for Garrett Wilson?
It's definitely third round-ish. 1 second. Let me get you this ADP.
And what is it for AJ Brown?
AJ Brown is coming in at wide receiver 10, average 10. And Garrett is 14.
They're going in the same tier? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it is, but it isn't. So, like, Garrett Wilson's coming off of his best career season with what is perceived to be very little target competition. The problem with it is that it's not the competition; it's just the target volume in general is what we're concerned with. So yeah, he's coming off of his career season where AJ Brown got dinged up for a little bit, missed a few games, and then is dealing in again a low passing volume situation with a stable of weapons playing alongside it. Devontae Smith and Goddard and Barkley.
I always like to go for the guys that are in better offenses, even if they do have to share, a bigger piece of the pie, but their piece of the pie is likely to be more valuable than a guy getting 170 targets, but he's the only guy on a team that's not really projected to win a lot of games. So like I'd much rather have the high value targets than to have the guy. But again, at ADP, like if you can tell me I can get Garrett Wilson a round or a round and a half after I get an AJ Brown, that's a great pick. Because then at that point, I'm assuming Garrett Wilson will be my wide receiver 2 or possibly wide receiver 3. But if you're telling me I have to choose between AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson, I'd probably go with AJ Brown.
That's fair. It's not wrong either. It's not wrong. I think you're getting both of them at a pretty good price right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, both of them again. AJ Brown has been a first rounder, and Garrett Wilson has been in that
like 1-2 turn. Yeah.
Been in that conversation for the last few years, whether that was right or wrong.
Right.
Which was wrong. But now it seems that Garrett is actually priced correctly. JX, Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields. Oh man, if these guys.
So
what is the win projection? 7?
Yeah.
For the Jets, I think it's at like 6.5.
I would realistically probably go 5.
All right, 5. Even better for my argument. If they're down in all these games where they're only winning 5 of them, where they could actually run the ball out a little bit more, right? Like so, like if they're going to be playing from behind more so than not, we may see.
By that logic, there should be more targets.
A healthy amount of targets for Garrett Wilson, and for the others. Now again, it's not like he's the only one that's going to be catching passes. We all know this. It's just a matter of we know that he is the alpha wide receiver on the Jets with very little competition.
Right.
So I was looking back to that Justin Fields, DJ Moore season. Like, yeah, I mean he did finish quite high, but he had some really, really bad weeks as well. Like he had 3 points, 2 points, and you already alluded to it.
It's a bad, yeah.
Can Garrett Wilson does he have the ability to have those explosive weeks?
Right.
Can he take a screen pass 60 yards to the house? Can he consistently go over the top of the defense and score 70-yard touchdowns? Because that's what DJ Moore had to do sometimes during that season. So it kind of comes down to that.
But what if that's just because the offenses haven't really asked that of Garrett Wilson? Because technically he hasn't really been in, world beating offenses, and he hasn't really been in good situations. Like I think to see Garrett Wilson unlocked, a great move would have been for him to like go to Carolina, because then in that offense, like they could use him in a plethora of ways. They can move him all over formations. They can give him a ton of targets and ask him to do all of those things that you were saying that like we don't know if he can do, because I just don't think that he's been asked to do it. But like at Ohio State, he was doing all of that. He was playing everywhere, doing everything.
He's definitely capable of it. He's been in a pretty lousy situation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. With bad quarterback play, it's no coincidence his best season happened to have been with an actual like Hall of Fame quarterback last season. I mean, we could call the man all the names under the sun. We can't take away from the fact that he almost himself threw 4,000 yards and 30 35, 38 touchdowns, 32
Mm-hmm.
touchdowns, something along those lines. Let's get into one last debate for the GOATs, and we are going to present the rookies. 3 rookies that are going pretty close together. Marion Hampton, Quinshon Judkins, and Ronald James Harvey. And no, I don't know if that's actually his initial. I just made that up.
It's actually Raytavius Jonas.
You know,
Oh, nice.
is that true?
No, I'm joking. I'm just saying. Listen.
You got me. I definitely believed it.
But I believe that's something that JX would know though.
Yeah, right. Because that's his guy.
That's why I completely had that. Like, yeah,
That's crazy.
That makes perfect sense.
Just when you think you can trust someone.
The only reason why I came up with Ron is because I see the name Ron right there. That's the only reason. Who are we taking? Hampton, Quinshon, RJ. All three of them have some sort of competition. Whether we want to say that Quinshon Judkins has kind of like maybe the best situation out of the 3, maybe not. Marion Hampton, he comes in with the highest capital out of the 3 of these guys, but he's also not playing with a very, very competent Najee Harris in a system that we think is going to want to utilize both of these backs. And then it's RJ. They just signed J.K. Dobbins. We know Sean Payton wants to use 2 running backs, and if you're not positive about that, check out the video that we have on this very topic. RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins. It's up on the channel. If you haven't already, GOATs, please give us a like and subscribe. AB, who are we going with here? You're on the clock. You have all 3 of them are in your lap. Because they're basically going right around the same. Late 5th, early 6th. The 5-6 turn is where you get
me. Yeah, I'm sticking to my guns, and I'm sticking with situation. Out of these 3 guys, first I do process of elimination. So I'm taking Quinshon Judkins out of there immediately because he's in the worst situation out of the other 2. Not saying he's a bad player or anything. And if you get him, like, I'm sure he'll be productive, but I like the other 2. I like the other 2 situations better. And then when I'm picking between RJ and Omarion Hampton, because of the draft capital, because of the offense and the quarterback is what gives him the edge for me, I'm gonna go with Omarion Hampton. But I think RJ Harvey will have a more prominent role earlier on. Like, I think Najee does a lot of the things that Omarion Hampton also does well. Like, they do a lot of similar things well. So I think Najee will get the first opportunity to go first, and then Omarion Hampton will take over the backfield, where I think that RJ Harvey is going to be a factor day one, whether it's on passing downs, whether it's to spell Dobbins, or whether it's to just have them in a heated competition from day one, and then whoever gets majority of the touches gets them. So I think that I would definitely go with Omarion Hampton. I think he could end up being like a league winner towards the end of the season, where he just takes over the backfield and takes, the lion's share of the carries.
Not out of the question. JX, RJX.
Well, Sarah, do we need to ask me?
Just for all those that will be listening to this episode for the first time, listening to the fire. Yeah, I mean, I presume he's going RJ.
Well, give me the choices again. Give me the choices again. Go ahead. The choice between the 3 quarterbacks.
Well, all right. So without like going up against the grain, it's Marion Hampton, it's RJ Harvey, and then Quinshon Judkins.
Okay, thanks for reminding me, because all I heard the first time was blank RJ Harvey. That's all I heard. So I'm taking Robert Harvey Jr. I know y'all want to name, so I give it to you. Former quarterback galore in Virginia before he had to switch to running back. I think it just comes down to simply the 2 things that are most important to me. The offensive line. Oh my God, their offensive line is so good. They are grinding D lines out of the grass left and right. The number 2 in run block win shares. PFF's number 2 offensive line only to the Eagles, and we know how good the Eagles' offensive line is. So what you're
Mm-hmm.
telling me is you're adding one of the most explosive running backs in college football, who was carrying UCF to anything that they were going to be. Well, I think we only won 7 games, but that was because of RJ Harvey. You're going to put him behind the one of the best uh, run blocking O lines in the NFL, and you don't think he's going to do good? I mean,
Especially with the head coach who wants to run the ball.
yeah, and that's another thing. It's with the head coach that wants to run the football. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that some people in here are a little, a little more on the Bo Nix wagon than I am. But I think Bo Nix this season, Bo Nix is there for the layups. But
Yeah.
we're going to be leaning, on J.K. We're going to be leaning on R.J.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we're going to be leaning on. So with them leaning on them two guys, I don't think that I know that Stanley thinks that Marion Hampton's going to be a league winner at the end of the season, which I absolutely see. But RJ is going to give us consistent weeks from week
Mm-hmm.
1 all the way to week 17, and maybe he explodes a little more down the line. But I'm taking Robert Harvey Jr. over them all.
It's a good case. It really is both ways. I'm gonna go with Quinshon. I like.
Yeah.
I do like R.J. Harvey. I think he's got the opportunity just by default of A, the system, and B, they just signed J.K. Dobbins. I don't really think that J.K. Dobbins is there to necessarily chew into his production as it is
Mm-hmm.
to, they're not exactly sold on whether it's Audric Estime or they're not really sold on Jaleel McLaughlin. I don't think J.K. Dobbins is going to be the one that is going to keep R.J. Harvey on the sideline. If
Like,
anything, they might both be productive in that roles. Those
mhm.
those previous seasons of Alvin Kamara and the Mark Ingrams and the
I was
Sproles.
gonna say that. Yeah.
Oh,
J.K. is more likely the Mark Ingram guy.
okay, so that is absolutely within the realm of possibility. I
Mm-hmm.
think even though the Browns back to projections and team projections wins, although they are projected to be pretty lousy and shitty, I still think that the Browns really want to get back to that core of just running the rock with a feature
Mm-hmm.
back. Maybe a guy comes in to spell him. When I mean him, Quinshon, spelled
Right.
Quinshon. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really see Samson as a threat. I don't, just based on his capital.
Mm-hmm.
And what if Joe Flacco just absolutely surprises us? Let's say Flacco and the Browns actually are looking pretty decent and they are winning some games. This is going to open it up for Quinshon Judkins. But I'm gonna go with him, just his capital, his landing spot, what what we all know or what we believe the Browns want to do with their running back and their offense in general. That's it. I mean, look, Marion Hampton. Look, I get it. I get it. Yeah, the Chargers, one of the best O lines. I get it.
Justin
Not
Herbert,
not
first round capital.
not Najee isn't exactly blowing the doors off of it either. He's just been good. He's been good. Not
Mm-hmm.
really. It's been fantastic, phenomenal. That he's on a 1 year contract, but I would lean towards them giving him some extra years before this year is over. They're not going to wait till the end of the year.
Who not Teresa Najee?
No, I think they'll give him an extension at some point between now and the end of this season.
It's possible.
Of course, well, it's
Yeah.
definitely possible.
I
You
mean,
know,
yeah.
so
But
I think
there's also a case where Marion Hampton becomes so good that they sign a different backup and let Najee test free agency or let Najee go to a different team.
of course that's possible as well.
Mhm.
I don't think that they will do that. I think they will give
Yeah.
him some sort of extension. Just again, they'll take whatever 1 year deal that he's got now, add some more millions onto it, and then just
Hmm.
extend a couple of years. Nothing crazy. Nothing
That
crazy at
makes
all.
sense.
You know
Um,
what? You know what scares me with the Chargers is I want y'all to answer this. Who's catching passes out of the backfield?
Catch and pass that. It's going to be Omarion Hampton. He's the better receiving back.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
I
He's
think
the better receiving back.
he's the better receiving back, but is he the best receiving back on the football team?
No, but the best receiving back on the football team is not more talented than him. So
He's not.
so that person won't
He's
see the
not.
field as much as him. So I think that especially in the style of offense that they run, the guy who is the most talented is the guy who's going to get the most work, not necessarily the guy who's like the more elite runner or the guy who's like the more elite pass catcher. Is going to be like the more talented guy that's going to be out there. Because let's say, for example, you put a guy out there who is a great pass catcher, but we all know that pass catching is his forte. You put him out on the field, the defense automatically going to assume that you're going to pass the ball.
Yeah, and the reason why I even do bring this up, and it's strictly off of just receiving slightly less value. I'm not saying it's a big factor, but
Mhm.
I remember last year where J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards were the feature guys there, and you just saw tiny little sprinkles of Kamani Vidal, just tiny little sprinkles every here. So that's just one less opportunity for Hampton to see some catches.
And when they gave Kamani Vidal a little bit of like, okay, opportunity, he didn't make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we actually saw J.K. Dobbins start catching some balls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make the difference, though, because with a guy like Omarion Hampton, those few catches, he can do so much with those few catches that, like, now you're forced to give him a couple more touches. You're forced to take whatever backup touches you were going to give to the third or fourth running back. You're like, give it to Omarion Hampton, because whereas Kamani Vidal could get 2 catches for 16 yards, Omarion Hampton could get 2 catches for 40 or 2 catches for 30 because he breaks one.
Here's the other thing, and I love the conversation because, like, obviously we're trying to project it and predict it. If they were to send Omarion Hampton out, feed him to the Lions, they have him in on third down, he misses an assignment, then he can't be in on third down again, and then you know that it's going to have to be Najee Harris on third down for pass protection and to go out to catch passes. If, again, knock on some sort of wood, that is the case, then Omarion Hampton wouldn't be in that situation until it gets corrected, right?
Right.
So that I kind of feel like, why even put him in that situation to begin with? At first, let it ease into that type of role. First down, second down, goal line, short yardage, in between the 20s, no problem. We know that he should be more than capable of doing that, as long as he, of course, doesn't cough the ball up, which is natural. But what's not natural is him in the flat, and then it like goes in and out of his hands. That's not going to be good. So why Najee Harris? He wasn't asked to do it much. Not much, but at least we know that he's capable of it. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. Now that's my thinking if I'm wearing that cap and I have a brother named John, but I don't have a brother named John. That's Harbaugh, by the way.
Yeah, the Harbaugh, yeah. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
I was getting nervous for a second. Only Sniper gets my humor sometimes. All right. Well, I mean, this was a fantastic episode. Fantastic debates. Now we're gonna have plenty more of them because, again, we only have 16 players here. There's plenty more. JX did put together a fire Jamar Chase short that everybody should be checking out because it is like it's actually very, very sound. It is the data that backs it up. But yeah, we'll get back into Chase, back into Bijan. We'll get into we haven't spoken that much about Kenny Skywalker that's going in the 4th, 5th round. We'll get back into some of these other wide receivers that we want to draft, like Ted McMillan, and we're going to draft.
Oh, you're giving me chills. Ted McMillan conversation.
Yeah,
Ted McMillan debate. Ted McMillan.
We got to get into a little Ted. Why not? We definitely got to get into a little
Tataroa,
chat. Sure, we haven't spoken that much lately on Lad or T Higgins. So I think you guys know where I'm getting with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Goats. I want you guys to have a wonderful evening. I want to thank you very much for tuning in this evening. I am your shepherd. You guys want to take us away?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this really quick. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna say this today. Well, this will be the last time I say it on the Fantasy Ghost channel, but I'm gonna be saying it again after tonight. Go Pacers!
Go. Hey, I still believe too. I still think there's a chance they get this done. I'm rooting for them.
Isn't the game on right now?
I want this. Yeah, it's on right now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's 34-32 right now.
Oh yeah. My times are all messed up. My times are all messed up.
Yeah. But yeah, go Pacers. Yeah. Everybody have a great one. Stay safe. Do good. Be good. And keep smiling.
Look at how deviant Sniper is. She's
right?
already calling for a mock draft, considering that the Rhino won't be around. She wants
That's
the
crazy.
mock. She wants the mock draft so no one that's in the league actually sees the actual draft process.
The strategy, yeah.
I kind of dig the train of thought.
Slick. Yeah.
Believe me, you'll be the first one to know if we do a draft tomorrow. Basketball? No, I mean not in this house. It's not.
The last one for Ron. Be a difference, make a difference.
That's right.
Fantastic advice.
Yep.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.